So let's talk about the law. And let's start with yet another time Jesus told you to follow it. This is the parable of the Good Samaritan in Luke 10. And behold, a lawyer stood up and put him to the test, saying, "Teacher, what shall I do to inherit life?" And he, Jesus, said to him, "What is written in the law? How do you read it?" And he answered, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your strength. And you shall love your neighbor as yourself." And Jesus said, "You have answered correctly. Do this, and you will live." For those of you that have been following me for a while, these verses should be seared into your brain by now. But this was not a new concept. This was out of the law. Deuteronomy 6:5, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and might." And Leviticus 19:18, "You shall love your neighbor as yourself." So let's break it down. Obviously, Jesus wasn't teaching something new, because a lawyer had the exact same concept that Jesus was teaching all throughout the Bible. Namely, Matthew 22, when he said the two greatest commands are to love God and love your neighbor as yourself. He didn't say the two only commands. He said the two greatest. And the two greatest just sums up all the rest of them. Loving God with all your heart, mind, and strength. Well, the first 4 of the 10 commandments are how to love God. The last 6 are how to love your neighbor as yourself. And so on and so forth. Every law in the Torah can fall into one of 2 categories: how to love God or how to love people. Now let's pop over to something most people misunderstand. In Acts 15, when they're talking about the laws of Moses at the Jerusalem Council, this is said, "Now therefore, why are you putting God to the test by placing a yoke on the neck of the disciples that neither our fathers nor we have been able to bear?" Many people are like, "See, the laws of Moses, an unbearable yoke. God knew that we couldn't follow these." Sorry, but that's not true. The New Testament records that it's possible. Luke 1:6, Elizabeth and Zechariah were both blamelessly walking in all the commandments and statutes of the Lord righteously. And Jesus confirms that there are righteous people in Luke 5:32, and righteousness is defined in Deuteronomy 6:25. It's following the commandments. So what is this unbearable yoke that their fathers weren't able to bear spoken of in Acts 15? Because we know it's not the laws of God. God says in Deuteronomy 30:11, his commands aren't too far off from you. They're not too hard. And this is confirmed in 1 John 5:2-3. Loving God is obeying his commandments, and his commandments are not burdensome. If you study the laws, the law for circumcision was only for 8-day-old babies. And this can be found in Leviticus 12. And when you really think about it, it is pretty unreasonable to ask an adult 2,000 years ago to get circumcised or tell them they won't be saved. Especially when nowhere in the laws of God does it say that. It's extremely important to know the whole Bible and the context, or else you might get swept away with the error of lawless people.